or the metal. So you've got your two pieces that are match drilled. It's typically helpful to take a Sharpie or something and put a little mark on them so you know how to put them back together, because especially for pieces that are kind of symmetric, it's a bummer to find out that you put them back together the way you thought you had it and it's actually off by a little, in which case it's going to be a horrible disaster. So you take the deburring tool, you stick it in there, just turn it by hand. You don't have to spend a lot of time, it's just once around, it's fine. And that gets rid of the pieces of aluminum. Although actually this material is pretty thick, so I kind of need to do both sides. The material you will be using is 032 aluminum, so you won't have quite the same problem, but 063 is pretty thick stuff. In fact, there's actually two styles of deburring tools. I'm going to use the other one for this thick stuff. It's like a little countersink tool. Feels pretty good. That's good enough. Now I'll take the two pieces. Oh, actually, first we need to dimple them. So we're going to show, to dimple it, we put the dimple dies in the squeezer. Okay, so I'll dimple each of these guys. So you put it in there, you kind of want to visually look to see if it's more or less square. And hit it. You can tell if it's a good dimple because there'll be a halo around the dimple. You'll see here that I've kind of got a half halo. It might be hard to see on the video, but I've got kind of a half halo around some of those on the bottom half. And that means it's a combination of little. It's mostly that the material is too thick to dimple, but partly that it's a little off center. For a really perfect dimple, you're going to see that halo all the way around. This. Okay. And I'm going to take this. Demonstrate a couple times how to squeeze it. Actually, how to squeeze a rivet, and a couple times how to drive a rivet with a rivet gun. The hole is undersized. You can use this to make it bigger. Take the Cleco tool. The way you use a Cleco tool is you kind of squeeze the spring, stick in the hole. Cleco tool. Stick it in the hole over here.
Can you put in one of those things in here in front of the camera?
Yeah. So I take a rivet. Oh, with these or this?
Those.
Oh, so these Clecos. Yeah. So you take this, you squeeze it like that.
Try it one more time.
Okay. So stick it in here. Squeeze it with your hand, that's how you make it thinner. Stick it in the hole, then let go. It'll expand while it's in the hole. And then, see it through, it fits. It's funny, it doesn't. Okay, so, make this hole's a little bigger. Part of the problem with sort of dimpling is that the dimple die is calibrated to squeeze a certain amount of metal out of the hole. There we go. So the way I squeeze a dimple, squeeze a rivet, take this tool. You'll notice that if I squeeze it now, it's going to be way too close together, right? It'll make the rivet really, really flat, right? So you always want to loosen it up so you're guaranteed that you're not going to make the rivet too short. The way you tell if the rivet's going to be the right length for your hole is probably for your project. It's going to kind of be predetermined because you're always using the same thickness metal, and then it doesn't really matter. But if you do need to use a tool to figure out if it's the right size rivet, you use a tool like this, and you slide it along. And if the rivet sticks over the edge of that little shelf, that means the rivet's too tall. So these rivets are slightly on the long side for this thickness of material, but that's fine. It means it's okay to be a little bit long. And then we're going to take this. You hold the head of the rivet with the part that's not moving on your rivet gun, on your squeezer. You watch for your thumb to make sure you don't squeeze it. And then you squeeze the rivet. That's slightly off center, but not bad. The way you tell if the rivet is good is you use a rivet gauge. A rivet gauge looks like this. You put this hole, if this hole won't fit over the rivet, that means it's at least driven enough. If this thing will not slide over the rivet, that means it's also good, because if it's able to slide over, that means it's overdriven. So this rivet's actually perfect. And if you have to choose on the side of being overdriven or being underdriven, I would choose overdriven. And this, I'll do one more with the squeezer, just for completeness. Put the squeezer here, press the head with the part that's not moving. That's actually a really nice one, it's not off center at all. Okay, so then you can take the clecos out once you've got, say 3/4 of the holes filled with rivets. I mean, not 3/4, 1/4 of the holes filled with rivets. And you can use the more advanced technique, which is to use a rivet gun. And I'll switch to the other air hose in a second. And also, there's another example. This rivet's too tight in this